in creating a work environment, just like I'm creating a gym that I want to work out in, my neighborhood gym, I want to be the person that's part of the team that you want to be in. I may not always have the answers, and I tell my team the same thing. If you don't know the answer, tell someone. It's important to me that everybody knows they can come to me with a question, and that it's okay for us to grow and for us to learn, because we're in the same boat.
Joy Sandoz, what's going on?
Just enjoying the beginning of summer, all the summer storms running through Atlanta.
It's literally rained every single day.
Yeah.
It feels like every day. Motorcycles are my hobby. And so, I don't run 100 miles on the weekends. I ride 100 miles. It's a bit easier. I'm not Joy, but it has rained every single weekend. So I don't know. Do you, as an ultra distance runner, do you enjoy the rain? Does it keep it cool?
I enjoy rain. I do not enjoy thunderstorms. I have my limits for outdoors. Lightning is kind of a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, I can understand why. Getting struck by lightning doesn't seem like it would be very fun.
No.
Apparently, though, if you do, then like great things happen. Like you never sweat anymore. You won't get tired when you run. Turn into superpowers, right?
Okay, well now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I take my trekking poles out and hang out in the field. Yeah.
Well, listen. Let's get the important stuff out of the way. Did you bring a dad joke?
Yes, I did.
All right, you go first.
All right. Why don't pigs enjoy running?
That's perfect for you. I don't know why.
Because they have tight hamstrings.
I'm a sucker for a good one. That's good, man. I love it. Oh, mine. This will probably get me canceled. So I was driving around the other day, looking at different alloy sites, and I saw a little person climbing down a prison wall.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little condescending.
I did not know where that one was going to go.
I couldn't even get there. I'm like, how do I build into this? Why would I be driving around watching a little person climb down a prison wall? But the little condescending, I'm like, all right, you got me. That got me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, look, you're clearly a multi-unit owner for Alloy. You were one of our very early adopters, right? I think you were probably second or third club, right?
Oh, I think it was a little bit later than that, but I know I was like in the first 8, I think.
Yeah, and you've had amazing retention, and you were the recipient of last year's Heart First Award, which is an Alloy brand award that we give away at conference for someone who does the most community outreach and does the most events and just builds an amazing community in your facility. So that's a lot about what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
But let's talk about your background. Like, what got you into Alloy and then here today?
Okay. I'm sure like several of the franchisees now that it's spreading out, I was not athletic at all as a kid, never did anything. I was band and computer club. I was not athletic, but around 36 when my daughter was starting school and I did not like what I saw on the scale, I decided I was going to lose weight and changed my eating habits, did what everybody does, and started running, and was great. Lost 35 pounds, but I think at that point I would be what you call skinny fat. Yep. Still got winded if I was carrying my daughter piggyback up a hill, and kept spraining my ankles, and wound up in PT. And the physical therapist said, if you start doing some strength training and some core training, I'm going to see you a little bit less. And I signed up at a small group studio in Sandy Springs, and started there and was working out. Really, really loved it. And from there, I was working the front desk at one point, and front desk manager for the free gym membership, and everybody was asking me questions like I was supposed to know the answers, and
like personal training-ish questions.
Yes,
right? Yeah, that's awesome.
And I wanted to know the answers as much as they did, so I would ask the coaches, and then I started, and then I basically, completely retrained, because it's a long, and I realize what is about to come out of my mouth. It's a long road from cartography and graphic production to personal training and owning a studio. But that is where I wound up. I just kept wanting to know more and do more, and built from there.
Yeah, and we have a mutual acquaintance that introduced you to Alloy because I know you were kind of like, hey, there's a studio for sale. I might look at that. You're like, oh, it doesn't seem too compelling. And then we met, and I liked you, and you were like, this seems interesting. And then we went from there, and I met Matthew, and I'm like, these guys are awesome. And so you did great. You had a really good pre-sale. You got them all in, and then you had very low churn on the back end. So props to you, first of all, and thanks for being an early adopter. And you've been awesome, and you make us look good. So let's talk about community outreach. Like, this might be a tough question to answer, but what is your overall philosophy? Like, why? You clearly enjoy it. Let's start with that. Like, I can see from the outside, this is something that you're wired to do. What is your philosophy on that? Like, you've got this small tribe of 130 to 150 people. You've got your team. Mm-hmm. Why is it that you feel it's so important, and why do you enjoy so much this community?
It helps that when I opened up in Dunwoody Village, it is 2.96 miles from my house. I found it on a 6-mile run on my turnaround point, and it is my neighborhood gym. And I want it to be a place that I want to be, that other people feel comfortable when they're there, someplace that I want to hang out. And I like the people. And yes, there are people there that I don't have a ton in common with, but there are some things that there is the commonality there, in that, sure, we have different hobbies, different backgrounds, but our kids played on the same softball team just years apart. And so there's all of those ties there. And from knowing, from when somebody comes in and you're like, oh man, you got stuck behind a school bus, didn't you? And you know exactly where it happened. And there's that really comes into, it means something.
So it's your backyard. So this is your community. Mm-hmm. So you built it as if through the lens of a member, if it was your neighborhood gym, right?
Yep. If I were to sell it, I would become a member.
That's amazing. And it's funny, like, neighborhood gym is such a great term, because I tell everyone, listen, we have 100 locations open. We're opening like 5 or 6 a month. I should say, not but, every single facility should feel like the local neighborhood gym. Like, it doesn't matter how big the engine is that powers the thing. Your local location, whether it's one or multis, whatever they are, when they're there, it should feel like the local neighborhood gym. That's the beauty of having 130 to 150. I'm sure you know everyone's name, right?
I do.
And you know about their families, and you know their community, and they know you, and they know your family. Is that correct?
They do.
Yeah, amazing. Well, let's talk about some examples of things. I mean, I can think of a few that I've seen, like pickleball clubs, and you do walks, and you have you guys meet at beer gardens, and you do like normal life things. So can you give me some examples of ones that have worked well, or maybe any advice to any other franchisees who are thinking about starting to do more events?
Definitely listen to what your members have to say. One of the things that turned out to be a whole lot of fun and engaged some people in ways I didn't expect is I had a few requests for like a dance class. And I'm sitting here thinking,
ballroom dance?
Like
hip-hop?
like cardio dance, hip hop, kind of a thing. And and I have, if I was in marching band, I can keep rhythm if I'm playing music. But as soon as you expect me to cha-cha or slide or front, back, I'm lost. But we kind of put it together and found someone and brought them in. And we've now done 2 of these workshops. And I saw some members' faces light up, because it's important. Everybody thinks because I run that my answer to everybody is going to be that they should run for their cardio. But no, it needs to be what you're going to do. And I saw these people's faces light up. And there's one member, I went this past Friday, I met her over at the dance studio and did the 11 a.m. Friday class with her. And we were tripping over our own feet, laughing, having a great time. And we're going to probably do it again this Friday. So, and there were, I think, 4 or 5 members there at the time, just because they really like it. And so they've added it as their extra day.
I love about it. It sort of speaks to the brand promise of like looking good. Everybody has at least some kind of side goal to lose weight, right? Mm-hmm. Feeling great, which move better, more energy, but then living life to the fullest is like this little epicenter of their health and wellness has now opened up this other thing that they can do. And maybe even physically they feel better doing it, right? Because they're more fit, right? Would you agree?
I agree.
What are some other examples that you've enjoyed?
We have done a cooking class of comfort food options that were a little bit more nutritious. I do have to say, if you have everybody coming in and setting up a team cooking style at different tables with instant pots and making pot pies, do it before you're going to have a closed day for the gym to air out. Cause man, the garlic and onions stick around, but the cooking class was a lot of fun. We've had a pickleball pro come out and do a pickleball 101 and then manage a mixer and give us pointers as we're going around so that we can have people of all levels. We have a monthly yoga class and a monthly stretch class. We host a run walk club from a local brewery, which, hearing the rain outside, I think may get canceled tonight. But
and people as we're talking, you guys, we talk about how much it's been raining. It's like raining cats and dogs outside right now.
So, but members can come and bring their dog, bring their kids, do a quick little run or hike down to the river and back, and then the first drink is on the brewery. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yes, we do also get together at restaurants. We have a request for a standing Taco Tuesday. I think that might cause a few problems with some people's nutrition goals. So we're going to have to approach that as a occasional thing, not an every week thing. But there's just a whole lot of fun stuff we can do. Drives for the animal shelter or for the local food bank that we tie to an event. Every year we do a great pumpkin workout and have a great big party. I fix pumpkin protein pancakes made with Alloy's vanilla protein powder. And we make a couple hundred pancakes. Everybody has a good time inside. They're lunging up and down in front of the gym holding pumpkins. It's a lot of fun. And then we even do, around Christmas, we do a 12 days of Christmas workout as our, depending on when it falls in the week, Christmas Eve workout, and we'll have eggnog and coffee and donuts for everybody, and then everybody's off for a few days. And
I love it. How do you stay organized around these things? Obviously a lot of these are very creative. For you, it seems so natural. Like, oh yeah, we just do this, we just do that. I think a lot of people are probably hearing this thinking, oh my God, how does she come up with all these ideas and how does she stay organized? Do you have a system?
I do have a system now. I was flying a little bit by the seat of my pants at first, as I kind of got it down. But now we do have an annual calendar of things that we do. And my director in Dunwoody, Angela, is a big help with that because there are things that I never thought about writing down. And she's like, if you need my help, it needs to be on the calendar. So now we're getting more of those systems in place. And then Keena up at Windermere and Cumming is fantastic with and has some great ideas for these kind of things too. So we do keep notes, and this is where you want to listen to your team for sure. I know that's one of the topics for later.
Sure.
But a year and a half ago, Chris, Faith, and Austin said, wouldn't it be great if we could have a field day for our members? And the whole lot of, and I had the wheels spinning in my head, and it took a while to put it together. But finally, for our third anniversary party, we had figured out all of the logistics to pull off a field day, and we did it, and it was a lot of fun. So now it's in there as something that we can bring back, whether it's every year or every other year. And it was so just kind of silly things like getting an entire team of people through a hula hoop all at once, or we did feats of strength to throw a 30-pound ball as far as you can. So it was
all like safe but fun stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not doing a 50-meter dash where everybody's popping hamstrings and stuff. Right?
Well, correct. Yeah, our goal was no injuries.
Yeah, right. Let's start there.
Yeah, I considered it a success because I did not need the first aid kit at any point in time. But honestly, with this is when I talk to especially when I talk to women who are thinking about getting into Alloy and that this is going to be what they do, I say those room mom skills are going to be everything, because I went from keeping track of 5 people's schedules, doing all the laundry and managing all the events and being a room mom and a PTA mom and, packing softball meals and all of that kind of stuff. I basically went from doing that to keeping up with 140 people's schedules and washing a lot more towels. But those same skills are in there if you can keep a bunch of middle schoolers engaged and paying attention and on task. That skill comes in handy keeping a bunch of 35 to 65-year-olds on task too in a workout and having fun.
Exactly. Well, again, and your retention proves that out. You can just feel it in the even in your social media posts. It's like you can feel the community through the post, right? So props to you. Let's shift gears and talk about team, because I think that cohesion, like you mentioned, hey, I listened to Chris and the other coaches and my directors about events. I had Chris on the podcast, as you probably know, a few episodes ago, and he's just an amazing guy. And he mentioned you, and he's like, look, Joy makes sure that we do it right, because he was a brand new coach, and he had come to you, and you brought him under your wing, and you taught him how to do the thing. Now, he's got the right intangibles, right? He's got a personal story. He's super motivated to change lives and help people. That's mainly it. But he hadn't really done any training, so he's fresh off his cert, and he's like, well, I shadowed Joy for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then she was always around. She might be doing laundry or planning an event, but she would like give me feedback on the sessions, things like that. So I would say from our standpoint, Joy, that engaged ownership, and listen, I don't mean they have to go in and cover personal training shifts, but just understanding what we do and how important that is, the integrity around it, that is the most important thing. I always tell people the crux move of this entire business model is the ability to attract, hire, and lead good people. If you can do that, it's going to work just fine. If you can't, it's going to be tough, right? You've done a good job of that. So what is your philosophy on, it's such a broad sweeping question, but what's your philosophy on leadership in general? Like, how do you look at leading your teams? Do you have a certain mindset or a frame that you look at it through?
Goodness,
it's a tough question.
I had an answer for this all figured out ahead of time, but now that it's happening, I'm kind of
I don't think I did a great job of asking the question. So, what's your leadership philosophy? How about that? I'll only cut to the chase. I talk too much.
No, I in creating a work environment, just like I'm creating a gym that I want to work out in, my neighborhood gym, I want to be the person that's part of the team that you want to be in. That I may not always have the answers, and I tell my team the same thing. If you don't know the answer, tell someone, hey, I don't know. I mean, let me throw the question out to the team, and we'll figure out the answer. Because it could be someone who's wondering if a particular exercise is going to aggravate their tennis elbow, and the question they ask you doesn't make a ton of sense. You could bluff it out and say, yeah, do this exercise, and they get hurt. It's better to say, hey, let's work on this other thing first, and let me get the question out to the other coaches, and let's see, because somebody else has dealt with this, and it's just not on the top of my head. Because most of the time we even know the answer. It's just flipping through that book to find the right spot. You can't do that as fast, and you need that help. And so I really, it's important to me that everybody knows they can come to me with a question, and that it's okay. It's okay for us to grow and for us to learn, because we're in the same boat.
Yeah, it's funny. Chris said the same thing. He's like, I learn something every day. Like, I'll have somebody comes in with a prosthetic. He's like, I can modify a few things, but I'll learn a lot about that individual, and they can and can't do's through trial and error. And he loves it because he's learning all the time. But when I hear you say that, like, that doesn't really happen by accident. You foster that environment, and you give people the opportunity to feel like they can ask questions, and you're all in this together. Again, I loved what you said about, of course, if you're not watching it, I was just nodding heavily, but like, you take the same approach to building a gym community as you do with your team, right? And I think that's key. Like, they feel like they're part of something. It's a place they want to go, right? And you hear a guy like Chris, and granted, he's a great guy and he's wired the right way, but he just absolutely loves it. Well, a lot of it has to do with the environment that you've created, right? Of course he loves it. Like, he doesn't want to go work at a place where like you're grabbing beers and going on hikes and hanging out, right? And everybody's having a great time and they're teasing each other. And it's like, that is the environment overall. So anyway, good job. I love it. And sorry for the lumpy question.
No, it was a great question. Like I said, I had it all figured out in my head how I would answer. And then,
the
Stage
pressure
fright.
of this not live. But I know we're like, no. Joy's like, I'm nervous. I'm like, it's not live. We can screw it up big time. Plus, we're pretty loose with it anyway. Like, it's not, you've heard Matt and I. It's pretty ridiculous at times. Yeah. So you went from, you mentioned it, you had a different career. Now you're a studio owner. Now you're a multi-owner. What would you tell somebody who is looking at Alloy franchise as a candidate? What was there any advice that you could give them? Because obviously you have to grow a lot personally, even, right, to be a good entrepreneur. Because you start of the day's great, and by noon you're going out of business, and by the end of the evening you're super excited. The ups and downs, and I think from my standpoint, some stoic control of your emotions is really important because you're going to weather the ups and downs. And like for the most part, everything's going to be fine. You just do the things that are in front of you, keep plugging away. But what's your overall, like, what would you tell somebody who's like, hey, Joy, I'm thinking about getting into Alloy, but I've never owned a business. What, should I do it? What would you say?
I think one of the most important things is don't undervalue the importance of those soft skills, because there are so many things that I never thought that would work professionally just from my life. Yes, there's not a lot from graphic production and drawing maps all day, not talking to anybody, to being in a studio talking to people all day long. It is such a huge jump, but all of the things that I was doing from an organization standpoint, being able to, put together timelines, and that from a work standpoint that came in, but from a standpoint of all of the other things that I was doing, those, organizing things, working on the PTA, working book, there are so many little things that go into it that you don't realize are going to end up being strengths. So from, if you've got soft skills, lean into them, use them. They're going to be a huge help. When
you say soft skills, like, do you mean like empathy, emotional intelligence? What do you mean specifically by that?
In some cases, yes, those are kind of the big picture items. But honestly, the being able to embrace quirky things, and I coached girls on the run for my daughter's grades when in elementary school.
I'm familiar with that.
And there are just some silly things that you can do in the warm up, and things that you can make goofy jokes, or add a tiara to something, or give a day an alliterative name, and those little things like that you don't think are that important end up being the things that get everybody laughing. It's now the smell my feet stretch in the gym, and it's that toe scoop where you kick your toe out and you scoop your hands up, and just and when I was coaching that at Girls on the Run, that was the smell my foot,
right,
smell my other foot, and I just laughed about it, and I hadn't thought about it in probably 12 years. And one member, who is a bit of a cut up anyway, was saying it under his breath in the warm up, and I heard him. And so now when I cue the stretch, it's like, all right, guys, get ready. Smell my foot, so like just being able to kind of pick up and roll with things like that. Yes, the empathy and the organization skills, all of those for sure. But being able to figure out the the best range of snacks to avoid people's issues. It's and put together the fun events. It's right. It's my whiteboard calendar is my life sometimes.
Well, I love it. I think a lot of people ask, like, how much. I had somebody ask, and we do something called a founders call, which is I get on a call once a week with potential candidates. Sort of the gatekeeping call to get to Discovery Day, which is when we bring people in and meet the team and we decide if we're going to partner, right? But somebody asked, like, how much freedom and leeway do I have? And I was like, well, with the thing, not much, right? And they're like, well, what if I just, and what they meant though, and I didn't understand the question initially, was what you said. What if I want to do a really cool event with a local blah, blah, blah? Or what if I want to do this community outreach? I'm like, oh, I thought it meant like, hey, we want to change the workouts. I'm like, no, that's like if we were a hamburger franchise, that's the hamburger. Don't change that.
Right.
But can you deliver it with a funny joke and put your own personality into it? Yes. I mean, one of our core values is humor with a touch of crazy. Smell my feet. Amazing, right? It's like, but I think what you're saying is don't be afraid to put your personality into the business and whatever quirks and things that you feel like, no, I'm a business owner now. I need to be very stoic. And it's like you don't. And the more that you're yourself and you can be unique with those different like talents or skills or just things that you think are maybe too quirky, I think you put those things right at the forefront.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, you did.
All right. Well, you tend to keep people around. And I think you've probably already answered this question. When I say that, I mean like team members, right? Because obviously, like, again, the ability to attract, hire, and lead good people also means like you can keep them around. So what do you think your secret is to doing that? Obviously, you got to give them a competitive compensation. But also, is it really as simple as just creating an amazing environment for them to come to work every day where they enjoy it?
That would be the easy answer. I don't think it's that. I think it's a combination. The compensation is, of course, part of it. The relationships they build with the other team members and our members is a part of it. But I also want everybody to be able to grow. Like I have a head coach right now who asks a lot of questions about marketing and director type work. And I'm ready to, he's not quite ready to leap into that sort of a role then, but I definitely want him to ask the questions, sit in and listen on the marketing calls. If he wants to sit in and listen on a director's call, I'm fine with that. I want them to have some independence and be able to make some decisions. Should they ask themselves in their head, what would Joy do if it's an administrative issue? 100%.
They have
Please
a bracelet
do that.
for that,
Yeah.
WWJD. It still works for you. I'm giving them to your team.
Okay. So from that standpoint, from an admin standpoint, I do want them to kind of have that in mind. But from a standpoint of being able to have some independence, if I took everybody, and it's about time for a refresher through it, to go through the FMS work, because if somebody comes in and they're saying, I've got, I slept weird last night and my shoulder's kind of quirky, having everybody on the team know how to do that quick shoulder mobility check so that you can find out is the pain when they bring it up over their head or take it around behind their back. That's important. They don't have to wait for me. They don't have to wait for the director. I want them to be able to learn and grow from that standpoint. And so, and again, if they bring me something that they want us to learn about as a team, I will try to figure out how to make that happen. We'll do some field trips. It's probably about time for us to go as a team and go visit. I just go do a yoga class together down the street,
or Perform Better, seminar or something like that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and some of like John Farkas, who's in the franchise and multi-unit owner as well. He takes like his entire team to like the Chicago Perform Better every year, and he's like, it's expensive and it's a lot to like kind of power the business down for a day or something. He's like, but man, the team building, and it's almost like a reinforcement of like, he's like, a lot of them are new to Alloy. And then you go and you hear all of these, like, and I spoke on that circuit forever, but I was always the business guy, but you hear all these like top scientists in the world, and they're saying the same things that back up the science behind the Alloy programming. Their efficacy behind it is like, oh, we're doing all that. This is awesome, and so I love it. Well, I think that's the key, really. Like, you're bringing people in, you're giving them the opportunity to learn and grow. And I think that ascension, whether even it's just in knowledge or whatever, is really important. I mean, it's very sticky for people to feel like they're making progress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
And I think some of my team members are surprised to find out that sometimes if the cleaner is sick, they're going to come in for the afternoon shift. I'm finishing cleaning the bathrooms,
right.
Or I'm folding towels,
so you're not
or
above
I'm stocking the refrigerator. I'm in there.
It's like servant leadership, really.
Yeah.
I know it's an overused term, but like, hey, you're like not above. Like, I used to joke about that. I remember when I first, a million years ago, I promoted someone from like director of training to like manager, right, of this gym, because I was traveling all over the world and we were starting the licensing. This is 20 years ago. And I remember coming in on a Friday or something. I had been traveling, and he was like on his hands and knees, like wiping up something that someone had spilled a drink on the floor or something. And I was like, oh, look at you. And he's like, yeah, be a manager, they said, look at how glamorous it is. And he's like wiping up coffee off the floor. I'm like, that's what it is at times. So I love the fact that you're willing to do it. And look, man, you make the brand look amazing. I'm super proud to have you in the brand, and I appreciate everything that you do. I do have one final question for you, though.
Okay.
If you were forced, gun to head, and maybe you would like this, I don't know, I would not, to sing karaoke, what would your song be and why?
How did I not know that this was going to be the song? Let's see. Let's go with Running on Empty. Because
Really?
that is a song that I have for my late race playlist. And yeah.
Yeah, well, you're literally running on empty in some of those races.
In
I
some
can't
of them I
believe you
am.
do it. So anyway, Joy runs 100 miles for fun, you guys. So she's a little bit crazy, but sage advice. Again, super proud to have you in the brand, and
Happy
thanks
to
for
be
coming on today. Sorry it took me so long to get you here.
Oh, glad to be here.
All right, see you guys. Peace.
Bye.